After a rather boring Coca-Cola 600, and when we were supposed to go racing on Wednesday, Tropical Storm Bertha decides, let's push it back to Thursday. And what we got was a much more entertaining race and a redemption story to cap it off. Yo, what is up everyone? My name is Jack Cross from NASCAR on MBK. Welcome back to the episode of Inside Lines Victory Stop. Chase Elliott wins the Alsco Uniforms 500, his 7th victory in his NASCAR Cup Series career, and it was quite a fun race. We saw a lot of interesting new faces come into the mix throughout the entire race that made it for quite an unpredictable race. So let's take it from the top. It already started off with chaos. Lap 1, entering turn 4, Garrett Smithley and Joey Gase made contact and made pretty good contact with the outside wall to bring out the first caution. Then an incident took place on pit road between William Byron and Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie wanted to enter into his pit stall. William Byron wanted to enter out. They made contact, and that, as a result of that, William Byron suffered really good damage to the right side of his car. He was able to rebound, but was not able to probably show his full potential in this race. Second caution will come on lap 27. Brad Keselowski cuts a right front tire, and then Matt Kenseth then cuts a left rear tire right behind him and spins. Luckily does not hit anyone, but that will bring up the caution. And then it led into about an hour or so long green flag due to a rain delay, more than likely due to the effects of Tropical Storm Bertha. Not the actual storm, but probably just like, and again, the after effects of it. And that caused about an hour or so rain delay. And then we restarted with 20 laps to go in stage 1 with basically the Penske drivers. Joe Logano, Penske affiliate with Wood Brothers, Matt DiBenedetto in second, and Ryan Blaney in third. And Logano go on to win the stage with Blaney second. DiBenedetto, good for him to get in third place. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's going to be a driver we're going to talk about a lot on this episode. He really shined today. 6th place for him in stage 1. Austin Dillon, good run for Richard Childress. 7th for Austin in stage 1. And a nice run for Chris Buescher, top 10 in the first stage. Now, for those who don't remember, when this package came out, restarts was going to be a big key word regarding this package because cars are so bunched up, so they cannot really get takeoff speed in order for them to spread out. They're going to be patched, jumbled up, and that's going to cause some chaotic restarts, and we saw a lot of that tonight, specifically with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who made a very bold 4 wide. It was at one point a 5 wide pass, I think, off of turn 4, but then this is when trouble starts to ensue. So entering turns 3 and 4, it was still, I think, 3 or 4 wide. Almirola then slides up just a little bit and makes contact with Kyle Busch's left rear tire and cuts it. And then as a result of just cars scrambling, trying to avoid Kyle Busch, you see Ryan Preece just go to the grass to avoid contact. Busch then, unfortunately, he had to pit and would go 2 laps down because when he and Almirola made contact, it looked like Almirola hit, looks like just an exhaust pipe that was sticking out just a little bit and it hit Kyle Busch's left rear tire, caused it to cut, and Busch, he had to come onto pit road. And unfortunately, Kyle Busch would never recover. We're going to talk about Joe Gibbs. They were just off their game tonight. So when lap 78 comes into play, and this is after there was a caution on lap 73 involving Quinn Houff, and I believe it was the 15 car of Brendan Poole that caused out a caution. Then the top 14 stayed out with Bowman as the leader. Bowman, he had a very fast car in the Coke 600, unfortunately finished 20th. Same thing applied today. He had a very fast car and took off on lap 78 up until the end of stage 2, where he'll go on to win with Ryan Blaney in second, Logano third, Elliott fourth. 5th would be Kevin Harvick, 6th Kurt Busch, 7th again for Austin Dillon, 8th for John Hunter Nemechek, Christopher Bell in 9th, and Bubba Wallace in 10th. The rookies, Bubba ain't a rookie, but in the equipment he's in, really good run for Bubba up until later on we're going to talk about here. Bell also had a nice run, as well as John Hunter Nemechek. Then some interesting things came into play in stage 3. With 87 to go, that's when the restart came out for stage 3. Alex Bowman was a race leader. However, 5 laps after that, Kevin Harvick then takes the race leader from Bowman. And this is crucial because Kevin Harvick was the fastest car, at least from my point of view. Every time you saw him, he was just passing cars left, right, top, bottom. It didn't matter. He would just pass cars on the daily. So it looked like if he got out in front, it's over. It's done. And when 83 laps to go came and he passed Alex Bowman for the race lead, I thought, well, unless a caution comes out, Harvick's got this thing wrapped up in a bow. And I further thought of that because 10 laps later, Alex Bowman, who's around 3 to 4 tenths behind Kevin Harvick, gets loose in 3 and 4 and smacks the outside wall. Pretty good contact, causing him to come onto pit road, and that would just ultimately end his day. Tough break for him, for Alex Bowman. He would go on to finish 31st, 2 laps down after I think he was one of, if not the top leader in terms of laps led at Charlotte. So a very tough break for him. Again, he had a really good car in the Coke 600, finished 20th, had a really good car in tonight, finishes 32nd or 31st. So yeah, so I feel bad for Danny B. I'm sorry. So now the narrative of the story changed. Before, it was, can now anyone challenge Alex Bowman? And now the narrative was, can anyone challenge Kevin Harvick? And it looked like at first it would be no one. No one. Unless a caution were to come out, Kevin Harvick just had too big of a gap. But then a certain someone somehow got speed, got momentum, and started to charge down Kevin Harvick. And I'm talking about Chase Elliott. And the reason why I say surprisingly, like I was shocked that it was Elliott that was the one that was chasing Harvick down, was because Elliott was not really up in the front that much. He was, again, top, in the lower top 10 all race long. It looked like he had a top 10 car, again, near the lower half. It didn't seem like he had a top 5 car at first. And I thought if there was going to be a driver that would challenge Harvick, it would be Ryan Blaney, or Joe Logano. Those drivers that were up front majority of the time, I figured would have the opportunity to challenge Harvick, or even Denny Hamlin, because he was starting to come on strong. But nope, 28 laps ago, Elliott was able to chase down Harvick. Harvick got a bit loose off of 2. Elliott was then able to pass him with 28 laps ago, and Elliott would go on to win the ALSCO Uniforms 500 kilometer at Charlotte Motor Speedway, again for his 7th career NASCAR Cup Series victory, and his first at Charlotte on an oval. I think he's a 2-time winner at the Charlotte Roval, but now he's a winner on the Charlotte Oval. Now let's go over some drivers and how their days have gone. First off, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Wow, finished in the 4th spot. Look, we clown on Stenhouse a lot for being reckless. And don't get me wrong, Stenhouse made some dodgy moves. Absolute, moves that made you go, oh my god, Stenhouse, just stop. Relax, stop. But no, he kept his nose clean. He did ruffle a few feathers, Jimmy Johnson, for example. But came in with the top 5 in 4th place. Absolute stellar run for Stenhouse. He's got talent. He's fast. He just needs to know how to control. Because, again, he made a lot of moves that look like, oh my god, it's like one more inch or one more bad move, he's going to cause a massive wreck. Good run for Richard Childress Racing. Both cars in the top 15. Reddick finished 14th. Austin Dillon would finish 8th. Dillon, he had a top 10 car. Solid day for him. Was kind of surprised for Reddick to be a bit lower in the finishing results. I expect him to be in the top 10, hence on how good he did in the Coke 600, but still overall pretty solid day for Richard Childress Racing. Now let's talk about Joe Gibbs Racing, because they were something. The first half, I thought, this is not Joe Gibbs. I mean, if so, this reminded me of Toyota of 2007. No Gibbs cars were in the top 10. The highest, I think, was Hamlin in 11th. Truex was in the mid-teens. Jones was in the high 20s, and Kyle Busch, he had that incident with Eric Almirola. He was out of it in the bottom thirds or low or high 30s. Joe Gibbs was just completely off. And even with Kyle Busch, even before he had that incident, again, he really wasn't up towards the front. Again, he had a top 10-ish car. It just wasn't Kyle Busch fashion. I'll just say that. It wasn't typical Kyle Busch fashion. It wasn't Kyle Busch the way how you expected Kyle Busch to perform. I'm expecting when we go to Bristol on Sunday, considering that's one of his best tracks, I expect him to perform well there, but very odd to see Gibbs, race the way they race. Again, don't get me wrong, they rebounded. Hamlin finished 2nd and Truex finished 9th, but Jones, he fell back. He was held a lap because he passed his pit stall when he was supposed to do a pass-through penalty. Busch, he had his issues. It was just overall a bad day. Regardless what you say, Hamlin getting 2nd, it was just not the Joe Gibbs Racing team that we have been seeing and watching for the past 2 or 3 years. I'm not saying that Gibbs' dominance has ended, but let's just say Gibbs is starting to look a bit more mortal now to the NASCAR garage. Now, another team I want to talk about is Penske Racing. I think Penske Racing, they have hit it for 2020. The past 1 or 2 years, it seemed like Penske was slipping just a little bit. Logano seemed like he was the only driver that was performing, him being the 2018 champion. It looked like only he was performing. Blaney and Keselowski, they had their moments, but again, they weren't up to the standards of Logano. Then even in 2019, Logano started to fade a little bit. So it was very interesting to see how Penske would attack 2020, hence there being their complete, change or overhaul change of each driver getting a different crew chief. Well, it looks like it's worked. Penske really shined today. While Keselowski not that much. Keselowski was still able to salvage a 7th place finish. Logano ran really good. Blaney ran really good. Blaney finished 3rd and Logano finished 6th. So I really expect a lot of good things coming from Team Penske. It looks like they've got their stuff together. It looked like already Logano and Paul Wolfe, they already got their stuff together, but it looked like it took Blaney and Keselowski a bit more time to wrap their head around, wrap their stuff around in order to make sure they got this 2020 season under their hands. So I expect Penske to do a lot of good things. Had a really good, really good, I can't speak today. Really good run today. I can't really speak, man. Hendrick had a very day. Again, aside from Bowman, Chase was, I know he won, but when you watch the race, Chase did not have a race-winning car, at least in my opinion. It looked like Bowman was the only driver that had a race-winning car. Byron was nowhere to be found. Again, he did finish, I think he finished in top 12, 12th place exactly. Jimmy Johnson, top 15, top 10 car, finished 11th. It was just a day for Hendrick Motorsports, but obviously very surprised and happy for Penske and how good they performed. Very shocked and kind of scared on how bad, or at least how inconsistent, Joe Gibbs performed. But yeah, ultimately, I thought it was an alright race. It was a good race. Much better than the Coke 600. And I think NASCAR needs to take a look at this. When we eventually go back into racing normally at week by week, when the 2021 schedule comes out, I really do believe NASCAR needs to take a look at doing 2 things. Number 1, shortening the race length, not except for the Crown Jewels, but for all other normal races, shorten the race length. And number 2, limit practice sessions. Instead of having 2 to 3, 1 or 2 hour practice sessions, just have 1 hour practice session on Friday, have qualifying on Saturday, have the race on Sunday. I think that'll keep things a bit unpredictable, and it'll make it more fun. And shortening the race length is going to allow drivers to be more aggressive early on. And it's going to be, you're not going to get those long strains that, might take up hours and hours of time and be like, oh, can we just get this race, get it going, get it over with? Specifically, if it's a bad race. If it's a bad race and a long race, it feels like forever, like the Coke 600. But if it's a bad race but short, it doesn't feel so bad. So I really think NASCAR needs to take a look at that for future races, for 2021 and beyond. Look at shortening the race weekend events, because that allows teams to save money, and shorten the race length allows drivers to be more aggressive, doesn't cause as much of long, boring time strains, and it keeps things more entertaining. But that's just my opinion. Overall, that's it for me. What are you guys' thoughts on today's Alsco Uniforms 500? Tell me in the comment section down below. I will try to get back to making videos. Sorry if I took like a week break. I had a lot of stuff going on, but that's all sorted out now. Congratulations to Chase Elliott, your winner tonight at Charlotte, his 7th victory of his career. And until next time, my name is Jack Ross from NASCAR on MDK. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.